What is up, YouTube? It's Kingfisher745, and today we have another episode of the Adamantium process. This will be episode number 8, and we're going to be taking it back to the old school with this team. For this team, we're going to be using the Human Torch and Spider-Man. I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly what I have socketed and what I'm using on my team. So right now we're using the Blaster Power Armor. We're using, I believe, 2 Chaotic ISO, and that's kind of just to give me a little bit of stamina boost and a few other things. And then we're going with all Reactive Skillful, and that's because I wanted health, attack, and evasion. This team's going to be having a lot of evasion. Now you may wonder why I decided to go with this team, and the reason being is because I picked up the weapon Hard Knocks. It looked way too good to resist buying it. So after I picked up this weapon, I wanted to use a character with my agent that could either take advantage of burning and maybe also apply burning to the enemies. So I thought, who better than Human Torch? Now after I decided to use a Nihilist Human Torch, I arrived at Spider-Man because I wanted to use another character from the Future Foundation to take advantage of Future Countdown. And Future Countdown, if you have 2 of the Future Foundation characters, will apply a permanent increase to attack and accuracy by 35% on round 4. So I decided to go with Spider-Man, and since that was the case, that's why I socketed for evasion. And to go along with the evasion, that's why I chose the Blaster Armor, because it adds Reflexive Flash, which causes blind to attackers. Now you can see the weapons and the item that I'm using on my agent. The Scroll of Angelob, Warbringer Axe, Hotshot, and Hard Knocks. And I really like this combination of weapons. But there are certainly other weapons and gadgets that you could use as well. They would be just as effective. Items like Dark Sigil or Signpost, Magnetic Field Generator, or maybe even Quantum Jumper. You don't have to get hung up on any one item or weapon. There are multiple items that can be just as good and maybe even more useful in more situations. As you can see, I'm using Bruiser, a Nihilist Human Torch. And a Nihilist Human Torch is pretty awesome because he has not only Future Countdown, but Cosmic Control Rod, which says he has a chance to call warriors from the Annihilation Wave when an ally attacks or is attacked. Now for sockets, I have him socketed with Reactive Proficient, which gives him attack and evasion, and also Reactive Powerful, which gives him health and attack. And that's just a mix of both of those ISO 8. Next we're going to move on to Future Foundation Spider-Man. And when he pops up on the screen, you're going to see that I have him in Infiltrator. He also has Future Countdown, and he has Tingling Sensation, increases evasion when attacked, and Share the Future grants Tingling Sensation to all teammates. So that goes along with the evasion theme, and that's kind of why I went for evasion for this team. Now for his sockets, I have him socketed with all Reactive Skillful ISO 8. And Reactive Skillful says that he gains health, attack, and evasion. And the reason I used Reactive Skillful is because I really like my teammates to have health and attack. And I don't want to completely rely on evasion alone. And that's because there are items out there that are a guaranteed hit, as well as skills that make it so that you're guaranteed to hit. Otherwise, evasion would be absolutely overpowered. So now that you've seen my team and what I have socketed, we're going to go ahead and move on to the battles. So the very first team that we come up against has an agent wearing Tactician Power Armor, Captain Britain, and Magneto. You also can see that he has Hotshot. Now the cool thing about it is when someone has Hotshot and you have Hard Knocks, it means you're going to preemptive strike them pretty much every time. And that's exactly what happened. In fact, it happens twice because he's going to take 2 attacks on my blaster with his Tactician. Now having a Tactician up against a blaster is very nice, but he has 2 Tacticians, and that means he's going to have trouble with an Infiltrator, like Spider-Man. When Magneto uses his shield, I go ahead and remove it with the Scroll of Angelob right away every time. just too annoying to deal with, and I don't want to give the opponents an extra turn. And of course, he's going to hit me with his hard knocks, as I'm trying to get a hot shot off on his team. And luckily I didn't get hit by Magneto, because Magnetize was removed because of the scroll. Otherwise, he may have preemptively hit me and finished me before I got to use Hotshot. Once you put burning on your opponents, Human Torch's fireball will hit extremely hard, so that's another benefit of having Hotshot and Torch together. For Spider-Man, we're going to try to stun Magneto, and it worked. So Magneto will skip his turn, and Captain Britain was stunned as well. We're going to try another fireball, but this time we're going to use it on Captain Britain. And it hit for over 13,000, so that's a good hit. And we want to finish Captain Britain before he has a chance to get any heals or attacks off. Now it's just down to Magneto. I was actually surprised by how fast this team was able to take another team out. This team was either going to win or lose pretty fast. Now all we have to do is finish Magneto. And Spider-Man is going to do it with a web slingshot. Now moving on to the next battle, we're facing Captain America and Modern Thor. Now this is an Avengers team, so I expect it'll be pretty good. The most important thing is my agent's going to get a turn before his Thor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to stun Captain America. And then when it's my agent's turn, I'm going to use Scroll of Angalob to remove Thor's buffs before he can use Summon Thunder. If you've ever been hit by Summon Thunder, you know what kind of damage it can do to your team. Now we're going to go ahead and use Hotshot. Now that's the bad thing about having Hotshot on yourself, is that there are a lot of people with hard knocks, and they're going to preemptively hit you almost every time. So anyways, we just ended up re-stunning Captain America, which isn't very helpful. But Human Torch is going to almost finish him. And apply Future Countdown. Their Cap is dead, and now we have to wait for Thor. Now a lot of times Thor will go ahead and use his buff on that. But he kind of surprised me by using Hammer Throw. Luckily it didn't hit very hard. We used Web Shot with Spider-Man, that way we can set up his Web Slingshot move to do more damage. And we're going to use Warbringer Axe on their agent. At this point we have the battle pretty well in hand. And we're going to use another Fireball with Human Torch to hopefully finish their agent. And he's gone. There goes an evasion kicking in on a Hammer Throw, and he has combat reflexes, so it's a perfect situation. It will apply Webbed with that counterattack, and then his Web Slingshot will do more damage. So there's a pretty big hit from a Web Slingshot, and Spider-Man gets another move. We'll finish him off with a second Web Slingshot. So another pretty fast win in the books. Moving on to the next battle, we're fighting Phoenix and Blue Costume Quicksilver. Now this battle had me a little bit worried, especially since you can see that his agent has some really good weapons, including the rocket gun and a pneumatic nail gun that you got from buying gold. The one thing that I did like though is that Quicksilver's in a scrapper uniform. Now this is bad because of the Infiltrator Spider-Man, but it's really good because of the enrage that it's going to put on Human Torch. So I was expecting some really big hits from the Human Torch, thanks to Quicksilver. I practically always start the battle with Hotshot and hope for a triple stun. And we got 2 stuns, one on Quicksilver and one on Phoenix. And he still gets to retaliate with a tag team, which I don't like. I wish that when someone was stunned, they can't attack back. Next, we're going to try to hit Quicksilver for a big hit and also enrage Human Torch. And this is why I would actually advise buying the Generalist costume for Quicksilver. Next, we're going to use Spider Sense on Spider-Man. And then we're going to try to stun their team. right after we're done applying all these buffs. We're going to use Web Swing on their agent, hopefully stunning him and gaining combat reflexes. Now he unfortunately counterattacked with the Pneumatic Nailer, and also didn't get stunned. So we're going to see what he does. He uses the rocket pistol, which is a really good weapon, but I unfortunately do not have it. The only good part is it's not going to really hurt Human Torch, other than the bleeding. And we did get the counterattack. Spider Sense kicked in, and we're going to get an extra attack. Unfortunately, Quicksilver just finished him before he could attack. Blast from the Past is a really strong ability. We did get to use Hard Knocks, but it didn't finish Quicksilver. And he got to take out my agent. And that's because of Death and Rebirth. Now it's looking pretty bleak at this point. But we're going to Fireball Phoenix. And we did get the finisher before she could Phoenix Fire. The rocket pistol doesn't do any damage, so we got lucky there. And then their Scrapper is just going to go ahead and enrage Human Torch further. So it may not look good, but Torch is actually going to end up winning this. Plasma Body finishes Quicksilver. And now we're going to do a huge hit probably on their agent. And there's a hit for over 28k, and we won the battle. Now moving on to the very last battle of this episode. We're going to be facing a Generalist agent, Mockingbird, and Emma Frost. It looks like another pretty strong team. And they have Signpost, which is an extremely good item. Unfortunately, the AI started off with Scroll of Angelov for them. I guess it's fortunate for me. I also get to go ahead and preemptively attack with Hard Knocks. They do have Grief, which I never got, and I wish I did. But here comes Plasma Body. And Spider-Man's up next. We're going to start with Spider Sense, of course. Share the Future kicks in. And then we're going to go ahead and attack Emma Frost. And we're going to hit her with a web shot to put Webbed on her. Now this will give me combat reflexes and also set her up for more damage on a web slingshot. Now we're going to go ahead and use a Fireball on their agent. And we'll see what Mockingbird does. Mockingbird can be a pretty scary opponent to face. She decided to hit Spider-Man with a Mocking Blow. And of course a Twin Strike follows. So the good news is Spider-Man's still alive. And he's also going to Web Shot and get Spider Sense. So he should be getting an extra turn here. Now luckily Mockingbird didn't hit and finish Spider-Man. But she did put a really hard hit on Human. So I have two severely injured teammates. But Spider-Man's going to be up next, and then my agent. So hopefully I'll be able to even it up. We're going to go ahead and use Spider-Man to web slingshot their agent. And we weren't able to finish her, but we did put her kind of close. So we're going to use Hotshot on their team. Let's see how many stuns we get. First we finished their agent. We stunned Mockingbird and Emma. So it was a perfect Hotshot. And no Cosmic Power kicked in. So we're going to go ahead and hit Mockingbird with a web slingshot. And that finishes her off. Now Emma can be harder to finish, but we have a 3-on-1 advantage. And we start off with a pretty hard Fireball. We're going to use Warbringer Axe with my agent and see how much damage it can do. Only 740. But Cosmic Control Rod has finally procced, and we finish her with Annihilation Wave. Now that's the end of the last battle, as well as the episode. I hope you enjoyed episode 8 of the Adamantium process. Please check back next week for the next episode. I'll be sure to have another exciting team for you to see. If you liked the episode, please leave a thumbs up and a comment in the section below. Also, if you haven't already subscribed, please click the button that's on the screen. Thank you all for watching. Good luck, and take care.